The Canadian Cancer Society Transportation Service, yeah, it is a lifeline. Like what they do there for all of us with cancer, it's just unbelievable. Like, you know, people working in the office, people only driving cars, but they're just as important as the surgeons, the doctors, the nurses.
In a vast province like Manitoba, distance can be a barrier to getting the proper cancer treatment we all deserve. That's why, for over 30 years, the Canadian Cancer Society has provided safe, reliable, and subsidized rides for cancer patients. In that time, the Society has provided cancer patients more than 250,000 rides to and from treatments and cancer-related medical appointments in Manitoba. Not only does the transportation service help people get treatment, it supports patients by helping them cope, providing emotional support, and reducing their financial burden. Victor Morello, a volunteer driver and cancer survivor, had his first encounter with the transportation service as a patient. His experience with the service inspired him to make a commitment to help others.
I was, with cancer, I had to go for my treatments, and my wife took me there with a car, and then I found out that the volunteer drivers take you from your home to the hospital and back. So I figured, okay, I'll try that, and it was good. It was great. It's the best thing that can happen. So I figured to myself, okay, if I get cured of cancer and able to drive, I will drive for cancer. I'll be a volunteer, and that's what I'm doing.
With my radiation, I was getting 2 shots a day, one early morning, one late afternoon. And the cancer transportation were picking me up, driving me back home, picking me up late in the afternoon and driving me back home. So I was 4 rides a day. Sometimes I met 4 different people. And you open the door of that car and the guy is here. Hi, my name is Ed. How are you doing today, Dennis? It's so positive. Like they take something off your mind. They'll talk to you all the way down there. To even tell you a joke once in a while, smile.
The transportation service is a true 3-way partnership between cancer patients, hundreds of volunteer drivers who last year traveled more than 650,000 kilometers across Manitoba, and Canadian Cancer Society donors who subsidize rides between 50% in Winnipeg to more than 450% in more rural areas of the province.
It is a support, a big support. And there's a lot of people too from out of town.
Probably 3/4 of the people that we drive come in from out of the city. And they don't know the city. And if they're trying to drive their own vehicle and find a place to park and put enough money in the meter, it just makes it so much easier for them to be picked up at their door, dropped off at their door, and they have no worries about vehicles and time or anything. So it's quite a heck of a good service.
Oh, it's been a huge thing that the Canadian Cancer Society has been supporting people in rural areas, and they've done a couple of things. One of the things is our transportation network. We have some people who need to go in for specialized treatment to Winnipeg. They need to go for radiation, they need to go for sometimes some advanced tests, and we're not able to do these things in rural areas. And so these people are then left trying to drive into Winnipeg, sometimes very sick, sometimes they just don't have transportation. The Canadian Cancer Society has been supplying volunteer drivers, has been supplying a transportation network for people in rural areas, and they've been doing this for decades. It's been a big boon to residents in rural areas to know that transportation is not going to be the issue for them.
In addition to individual volunteers, the program receives support from community-minded groups such as the Freemasons of Manitoba, the Kiwanis Club, and the Lions Club. The Freemasons are currently the largest financial support of the program, providing $25,000 a year to defer capital costs of purchasing vans for use in higher volume areas.
I feel that when they come in the car, when they should come in the car, you can see they're nervous and they're very quiet. So you start talking to them to bring up their things so they can feel better. You start talking to them, and you start telling that you had cancer and you're doing okay, so think not to worry, everything's going to be okay. I always give them the same advice. There's three things, which is positive, faith, and exercise. I tell them all the time.
Demand for the transportation service is on the rise, especially in rural communities. The Canadian Cancer Society is committed to meeting this demand, but costs are increasing. With your support, the Canadian Cancer Society can continue making a difference through research and programs like the transportation service.